You're here at my house. Welcome. I'm glad to have you over here.
Thank you. I'm very interested to see what kind of creations you've made here. Tell me about this.
Okay. This is what I love to do. I love wood. If you'll notice my home, there's wood all over. All types of carvings and so forth. So years ago, I started collecting billets of wood that were 36 inches long and 2 inches square. And once I got so many of them, I decided what to do, and they would make pool cues. So I found a manufacturer, and each one was a different wood from all over the country.
Yeah.
And he made me 50 cues, all numbered, all with different woods, and I had them in my office in one bracket like this over here. And for a number of years, they were on display. Then you can open the directory and pick out a number, and it would tell you the history of the wood. So these are some that I kept personally because one reason or another, I just found them so unique I should keep them. They're kind of like one of a kinds. I'll go through them briefly.
So you made each of these pool cues?
Yes, I did not make the wood. For instance, this was a cane.
Okay.
So I bought the cane, and then
you converted it into a pool cue.
I did, yes. I made that shaft, and now this one was a children's ball bat. I converted that, made the shaft, and put a leather wrap on it.
Okay.
That's leather. This one was a commercial fishing rod.
Oh, yeah.
And the joint is right here. So I cut the end of the rod off, and I still kept this on where you can put your reel. It's a little heavier than most and a little longer. This one was a walking cane, but it's hand carved and mother of pearl inlays in it. And I call this the Indian's cue because I made everything that's on here out of silver. These are cast claws, bird claws, on a silver band. These are silver. And this is turquoise and silver winding through here. Feathers, more claws and silver.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And then up here is a claw, the entire claw, in a silver and turquoise cap.
It's just a cap, okay.
It just goes on like that.
Yeah.
And this is pretty much like a standard cue that you would sell or market. This particular one has ivory and ebony and tulip wood. So we'll make and a wrap, a linen wrap.
Very nice.
This is zebra wood, which I love the nature of it, so I didn't put any wrap on it. It's a nice color.
Mm-hmm.
This one has the most expensive wood in the world in it. This is called pink ivory. It's no longer available other than in Africa, its origination, they built a dam. So they allowed cutting in the space where it would flood.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I got this wood. Now this particular wood, in a 36-inch piece, 2 inches square long, in the 80s was $187 just for the piece of wood.
Wow.
So
yeah.
You have to use it sparingly, so you use it in small pieces.
Sure.
Now, the one that everybody likes the best is the genuine Louisville Slugger bat. And this bat was in a used sports equipment store, and it had a crack in the head, and it was sold for $2. So I bought that for $2,
Mm-hmm.
and then I put the linen wrap on and made a shaft for it. And it's perfect balance. There's no extra weight to it.
Mm.
And everybody that plays with it likes it.
So these were baseball bats that you actually put on the lathe and spun it down and
Yeah. There's a walking
Fascinating.
stick. This also has nice balance to it. it doesn't look like it, but there's two pieces here. See, it comes apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And all I had to do was cut that off and make a shaft and the connection.
So are you making the whole shaft as well?
Yes,
And you did that on the lathe as well?
you do that on a lathe. Well, there's several ways to do it, but I did it on a lathe, machine tool lathe. You buy the billets, and I would buy 100 billets,
Mm-hmm.
1 inch diameter and 36 inches long, from Michigan, spring cutting. And then you have to cure them. So when you make a shaft, you turn it down one turn and then take it off and let it set at least 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Sometimes most manufacturers let them set as high as 6 months, but they have thousands of them, that
Yeah.
they store and set and age. And that's to prevent warping. And so you go through a process over a 6-month period, and then you finally get down to a final shaft. Here's something that's interesting. In the 70s, I had a shop in Scottsdale, and I had 8 silversmiths and artisans working for me. And I did silversmithing, and this is something that I made. It's hand cut out of a sheet of silver, and you'll see the figure 8s on here for 8-ball.
Yeah.
And it's tapered, and it comes off and slides on. And this wood is called Purple Heart. It's kind of an unusual color and dark. Now, I do have one that's patented. By the way, this is a case, and this is my oldest son's artwork on the top. And I had copies, 8x10s of these, and I had them reduced and put on metal plates. And they just fit perfectly on this old case I had.
And your son is 72.
He's 72 years old. He was a designer most of his life and a good artist.
Yeah.
Now, I'm an instructor. I've been certified since 1991, and I'm a level 4 instructor, and that's just one below a master. And so I teach pool, and that's why the lines are on this table, that when I have students over, it's easier to explain moves and shots. But for 2 years, I coached some paraplegic, physically impaired. Most of them were in wheelchairs, and I noticed on long shots they'd have trouble getting close enough to the table. And I thought, well, there's a way to make a cue to solve that problem. So after a lot of prototypes, all of these are prototypes, and this is my final design, and I received a patent on it in 1993, and the patent number's on here. And the concept is that the shaft goes together like this, like a regular cue, and you want to make a longer shot, you give this collar a half turn, slide it out as far as you want, up to 14, 16 inches.
So an adjustable cue.
Tighten it up, and then you can take a much longer shot. And as soon as you make your shot, you give it a half turn, shove it down, lock it in place, and you walk over to your next shot. Now, some of the other features on the patent, there were 7 features. One of them is that once you take the shaft off, you slide it down here, you take this off, and you bring it around here, and it makes its own case.
Wow.
Then you take this, it's a hanger, and you screw it into the end, and you can hang it on the wall,
Okay.
just like that.
Very nice.
Now, in addition to that, this cue has a weighted bolt in the end, down here, and these are little weights at half-ounce increments precisely, so that there's 4 of them, so that you can adjust the weight of that cue for up to 2 ounces. and you could experiment. You take one off and tighten it up, put it back in, and continue. So it was a lot of fun making. It took a long time to do it, but I'll be looking for that sometime.
That is,
I won't know where I left it.
well, it looks like professionally engineered, very unique.
Thank you.
Pull cue. I never would have imagined such a thing existed.
Well, it came about from the original one. You go look for something you can use or get an idea. This came from a camera, tripod camera, and I don't know what part it was, but it had this extension. And that's what I started with, that one. And that worked good. But it just had a short range of about 8 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kept experimenting and experimenting until I came up with the final design. So you're going to ask me, well, did you market it? And I'm going to say no, because I started this stuff after I was 62. I retired from my design business and did this for a hobby for 5 years. So I sent this cue to Japan, and they come back with a good price. If I buy 2,500 cues, a container full at one time.
Right.
$80,000 investment. It cost me another $25,000 to market it. And I'm retired. I just retired, so I forgot it.
Yeah.
I made about 50. Sold them locally.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, individually, one at a time. And that's about it.
Okay. Well, this is just one of the things that you keep yourself busy with, right?
Yes. So now I got into a little thing that I'm going to show you later. It's called a wall-mounted hose reel for washing down commercial kitchens. I designed commercial kitchens for a lot of years.
Yeah.
I was in that business 55 years. Well, I'm still in it.
Yeah.
Probably 60 years now.
Yeah.
And so I have kind of a unique product that I do in my shop. And that keeps me busy. I don't make cues anymore. I just did that for 5 years.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I find it fascinating just to see what you've done and the amount of work and creativity and keeping yourself busy going. And most people slow down, way down, and you just keep on going.
I keep going. There's no reason to slow down. There's no reason to stop.
Yeah.
I wouldn't enjoy just sitting.
Great. Well, thank you. I'm interested to see what you've done with your other project here. So thank you very much, Dave.
Well, you're more than welcome. Come on, we'll go out in the shop.
Okay.